Hello everyone, you're watching News Mongolia on MNB World. It's Thursday, January 26th. I'm Batsir Namshar. And our top stories: Mongolia to operate direct flights to the USA from 2024. MNCCI names top 10 companies of 2022. A man saved more than 70 people's lives since becoming a firefighter. For the news, stay tuned. On January 24th in Washington, D.C., Deputy Assistant Secretary of the U.S. Department of State's Bureau of Economic and Business Affairs, Richard Yonaka, and Mongolian State Secretary of the Ministry of Road and Transport Development, Batwald Sandigdort, signed a memorandum of consultations finalizing an air transport agreement between the government of the United States and the government of Mongolia, the first bilateral air transport agreement negotiated by the two countries.
The agreement establishes a modern civil aviation relationship between Mongolia and the USA, consistent with the U.S. Open Skies international aviation policy. It includes unrestricted capacity and frequency of services, open route rights, a liberal charter regime, and open code sharing opportunities. After both countries complete their internal procedures, the agreement will be signed and come into force.
To start with, we will have the preliminary safety and security examination. If we meet those requirements, we will formulate our demands, and then the final audit check will be conducted. The flights will only be possible after meeting all safety and security checks and requirements. In terms of international direct flights, Mongolia is quite experienced. We operate flights to various locations, including Western Europe, because we meet all their standards and requirements. So we hope we can meet any specific requirements posed by the United States side, so we will take it step by step.
According to sources, the direct flights could be operated to 4 to 5 major cities of the USA.
The Mongolian National Chamber of Commerce and Industry announced the top 10 enterprises of 2022. The companies named as the top companies raised the flags of their brands outside the MNCCI building.
The producer of national food product brands like Tale Mongol, Green Group was named as the top company of 2022. The company plans to become an exporter of organic products. Our group operates in various sectors, including trade, food industry, and investment. In 2023, we are planning to concentrate on earning income from exports.
We always say that Mongolia can become an exporter of organic products. This company is making steps in entering into European and Asian markets. One of the latest achievements is that the company opened a branch in Turkey. Through this branch, the company can export Mongolian organic products like meat and dairy products. In order to develop the local economy, there should be many entrepreneurs. Aside from these top 10 companies, other domestic companies also should thrive to become an exporter and expand their markets.
You're watching News Mongolia on MNB World. Now let's take a look at Mongolia's current affairs. On January 26th, Embassy of India to Mongolia celebrated the 74th Republic Day with patriotic fervor and much enthusiasm. After hoisting tricolor Indian flag in -35 snow-clad embassy premises, Ambassador MP Singh read out excerpts from the address to the nation by the President of India to about 125 members of Indian community, Friends of India, and Buddhist monks. In his opening remarks, Ambassador highlighted the strength and resilience of strategic partnership with spiritual neighbor Mongolia and how centuries-old cultural connect and shared heritage of Buddhism and recent momentum in bilateral relations has reinforced our friendship. He commended the role of Indian diaspora in intensifying our trade and economic relationship with the land of eternal blue sky, Mongolia. On this day in 1950, India adopted its constitution and the Charter of Governance and became a socialist and secular nation with a promise of socio-economic and political justice, liberty of thought expression, belief and faith, equality of status, and opportunity to all its citizens while promoting fraternity, ensuring the dignity of the individual and unity of the nation. In our next story, we're highlighting a man who has dedicated his life of 16 years to protect the lives and property of others. His name is Orm Batter, and he's a firefighter.
Since 2007, Orm Batter has participated in 609 disaster operations and fire calls and has protected property worth 206 billion MNT and saved the lives of 73 people from the danger of fire. He's one of the first who gets deployed during forest fires. It takes about 1 minute to leave the place after receiving the call, and then 10 to 15 minutes to arrive to the fire location. Addresses are often not easy to find in Ulaanbaatar city. When I first started working as a firefighter, I used to drive a Russian AF-40 car. Now our car has been updated and we have the latest cars imported from France and Japan.
There was a fire in the fire pit, and when I got out, the fire was still burning. I panicked and called the fire brigade, and when I received the call, I was very happy that they came so quickly. After calling the fire brigade, I looked out the window and stopped for a while. The rescuers had already arrived. It must have been in less than 10 minutes.
While saviors work for others, their wives take care of children. Orm Batter lives with his wife and 3 children. He's on duty most days of the year and has not celebrated New Year with his family for the last 8 years. But he was able to stay with his wife for the birth of his youngest child this year.
I think my father is the best father in the world. I'm proud of him. This year we celebrated Christmas Day together with my father. The most difficult thing is a fire during the summer forest wildfire. At that time, my husband is gone for many days, and I worry a lot.
I work a 24-hour shift, and the day I get off, I don't really rest because I'm still at work. Basically, from 180 to 190 days out of 365 days are spent at work. Our service is a young people's service. I joined the service when I was 18 years old. We will retire young. After I retire, I will be more engaged in the lives of my children. My colleagues became like family, and we have worked together for many years. We know and understand each other very well. And that's why I'm very happy to be working with my colleagues. Sometimes when I'm on my shift, co-workers also help me pick up my children from school. All professions are nice. Among them, the profession of saving human lives is even more wonderful. 37-year-old Orm Batter, who is committed to his profession, has a future of saving more lives. Let's wish him good luck in his future endeavors.
Now let's take a look at the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. Now let's take a look at international news from our partner agencies. The Justice Department and 8 states sued Google on Tuesday, alleging that its dominance in digital advertising harms competition. The government alleges that Google's plan to assert dominance has been to neutralize or eliminate rivals through acquisitions and to force advertisers to use its products by making it difficult to use competitors' products.
The antitrust suit was filed in federal court in Alexandria, Virginia. Attorney General Merrick Garland said in a press conference Tuesday that Google's dominance in the ad market means fewer publishers are able to offer their products without charging subscription or other fees, because they can't rely on competition in the advertisement market to keep ad prices low. The department's suit accuses Google for unlawfully monopolizing the way ads are served online by excluding competitors. This includes its 2008 acquisition of DoubleClick, a dominant ad server, and subsequent rollout of technology that locks in the split-second bidding process for ads that get served on web pages. At minimum, the lawsuit wants Google to split off its advertising business, its ad manager suite, and ad exchange, as well as any additional structural relief as needed to cure any anti-competitive harm. Google's ad manager lets large publishers who have significant direct sales manage their advertisements. The ad exchange is a real-time marketplace to buy and sell online display ads. Representatives for Alphabet, Google's parent company, said the suit doubles down on the flawed argument that would slow innovation, raise advertising fees, and make it harder for thousands of small businesses and publishers to grow. This is the latest legal action taken against Google by either the Justice Department or local state governments. In October 2020, for instance, the Trump administration and 11 state attorneys general sued Google for violating antitrust laws, alleging anti-competitive practices in the search and search advertising markets. The lawsuit, in a sense, aligns the Biden administration and new states with the 35 states and District of Columbia that sued Google in December 2020 over the exact same issues. The states taking part in the suit include California, Virginia, Connecticut, Colorado, New Jersey, New York, Rhode Island, and Tennessee.
Chris Hipkins was sworn in Wednesday as New Zealand's 41st Prime Minister, following the unexpected resignation last week of Jacinda Ardern. Hipkins has promised a back-to-basics approach focusing on the economy and what he described as the pandemic of inflation.
He will have less than 9 months before contesting a tough general election, with opinion polls indicating his Labour Party is trailing its Conservative opposition. New Zealand Governor-General Cindy Kiro officiated the swearing-in ceremony after earlier accepting Ardern's resignation. Hipkins served as Education and Police Minister under Ardern. He rose to public prominence during the COVID-19 pandemic when he took on a kind of crisis management role. Ardern on Tuesday made her final public appearance as Prime Minister, saying the thing she would miss most was the people because they had been the joy of the job. New Zealand's head of state is Britain's King Charles III, and Kiro is his representative in New Zealand, although these days the nation's relationship with the monarchy is largely symbolic.
Aged 4, Teddy Hobbs is the UK's youngest member of Mensa. While some boys are still learning to read at his age, Teddy can already speak in 7 different languages and has started to read Harry Potter books.
Some jewels?
A Mensa genius, Teddy Hobbs has gained entry to the High IQ Society, becoming Britain's youngest member. Mensa is an international organization for high IQ people. Teddy was only 3 at the time he was admitted. His mother, Beth, realized something was different when he picked up reading at an early age and sought advice to double-check.
The end.
I think he's taught himself how to read, but can you see? So again, they were like, look, he's 26 months, that would be very unusual, but they sent their preschool teacher down, and I had a phone call later that afternoon being, yes, he can. We went to a bookshop and he had, okay, you've got £10, choose whatever book you want, and he chose First 1,000 Words in Mandarin, which is an Usborne book. And we were there like, oh, look at this lovely book, it's got a lovely story, look at the pictures. And he was like, no, this is what I want.
Teddy can already speak in 7 different languages and has started to read Harry Potter books. Beth explains Teddy picks subjects that are hard to grasp for adults. Despite remarkable brains, there's still some time for Play-Doh and dinosaurs.
What do you have for your lunch? Oh, I see. Sometimes they find dinosaurs.
Now let's take a look at our regular feature on World Sport. Marcus Rashford's sensational scoring streak continued at the City Ground as Manchester United closed in on an EFL Cup final appearance at Wembley next month with a 3-goal victory over Nottingham Forest.
Rashford's brilliant solo effort gave United the advantage 6 minutes into the first leg of the semi-final. Wout Weghorst added a second just before the break with his first goal for the club, and Bruno Fernandes wrapped up the scoring a minute from time to provide Erik ten Hag's men with a healthy advantage for the return at Old Trafford in 7 days' time as United look to end the trophy drought stretching back to 2017. Rashford's goal took his tally to 10 in as many games since he returned from the World Cup, underlining his status as one of the England's form players at present. It was his 5th goal in the competition alone, putting him at the head of the leading scorers list. Wakehurst has every reason to be pleased with himself too, as he reacted quickest after Wayne Hennessy had saved Anthony's low shot and turned home to rebound, while substitutes Faculan de Pelistri and Anthony Elanga were both involved as Fernando drove a low shot past Wayne Hennessy. Ten Hag punching the air in celebration underlined the significance of the third goal.
Great tackle from Nico Williams.
From result perspective, we bounce good back, quite clear. And I think the performance was over 90 minutes also okay. There was one moment in the game what could have changed the game, and we have to avoid that. It is it's a learning moment in a way to develop a really good team. But I think all over, first 20 minutes was all ours, and I think we played really well on the ball. And from the start, of course, great goal, Ressi again.
Steve Cooper's hosts were adventurous in their approach, but they would appear to have little chance of emulating Brian Close's side by reaching the final, which Horst has not done since 1992.
Nottingham Forest 0, Manchester United 3.
Novak Djokovic continued his scintillating form at the Australian Open, rushing aside world number 6 Andrei Rublev in straight sets to reach the semi-finals.
It was yet another near-perfect display of tennis from the 35-year-old as he continued his seemingly inevitable march towards a record-equaling 22nd Grand Slam with a 6-1, 6-2 and 6-4 victory in just 2 hours and 3 minutes. Djokovic is now playing arguably the best tennis of his career and has lost just 12 games over his last 2 matches, extending his winning run at the Australian Open to 26, tying Andre Agassi's record.
I've been fortunate to really live through a lot of success in Australian Open, but last 2 matches playing against 2 guys that are really good players, informed players, to beat them dominantly in 3 sets is something that is definitely something that I want in this moment, something that sends a message to all my opponents remaining in the draw. And so with this kind of game, of course, the confidence level rises, considering, as you mentioned, the circumstances. So, I feel good on the court, better and better as the tournament progresses. I've been in this situation so many times in my life, in my career. Never lost the semifinals in Australian Open, and hopefully that will stay the same.
The early signs were ominous for Rublev, who looked to still be feeling the effects of his 5-set epic against Holger Rune, with the Russian broken in only his 3rd service game. It was a setback he never looked like recovering from, as Djokovic ran away with the match and took 1 step closer to winning a record-extending 10th Australian Open title. Djokovic will now face American Tommy Paul, playing his first Grand Slam semi-final for a place in the Sunday's Australian Open final.
Now let's take a look at the weather forecast for the world's major cities. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for staying with us. We'll see you on Friday with more news and updates. Goodbye.